Welcome to the Connection America Podcasting plus Networking online business event powered by the American Business Podcast. We organize the event monthly and we network while we are podcasting on the American Business Podcast. As you know, the American Business Podcast now has more than 150,000 YouTube subscribers. As a business community, we are growing, and Connection America Business Alliance Podcasting Plus Networking event is a monthly event that we organize to keep creating and building our business community. Okay, great. Well, before further ado, I'll invite our attendees today and we'll get our conversation started. All right, perfect. So let's get started. Okay, perfect. Well, good morning. Welcome to the Connection America Podcasting plus Networking online event, online business event. Thank you very much for being with us today.
Glad to be here.
Thank you.
Okay, wait, Gary, thank you. Well, let's start our conversation in a minute. First of all, this event is podcasting plus networking. So what it means is you'll be able to talk to each other and learn more about your businesses, and also you'll be in front of thousands of YouTube subscribers of the American Business Podcast. We just passed 150,000 YouTube subscribers, and we are growing very fast. And I'm sure our subscribers, our followers, they'll be happy to hear from you and learn about your businesses. So as a start, why don't we do this? Let's start with brief introductions. Would you please introduce yourself and your business? Gary, shall we start with you?
Sure. Gary Kane. I work for Corporate Fuel. Corporate Fuel is a boutique investment bank in New York City. We focus on businesses between 10 and 100 million in revenue. We work on about 25 projects a year. Of that 25, 75% of them is M&A, and then 75% of that is sell-side M&A. So the majority of what we do are helping business owners exit their business for retirement, for chips off the table, for whatever it may be. And what makes us a little bit unique is we have a two-phase approach. We try to think more holistically, and we try not to rush someone to market like other investment banks. Phase one is 3 legs: valuation, education. Leg 2 is a transaction readiness. Are they ready to transact? And leg 3 is a mental readiness. Are they mentally ready to transact from a tax perspective, from a wealth perspective? And then phase 2 is your traditional market-based sale. As far as industries go, of that 25 projects, about 25% is food and beverage at any given time, and then another 25% is industrials at any given time, and the balance is business services, environmental services, IT, healthcare, more of a generalist scenario. We are a national firm. Most of our clients, I would say maybe 70%, are here in the New York tri-state area, but we do have clients around the country.
Sounds great. Well, how about you, Kevin? Introductions for yourself, your organization.
Yep. So I'm the president and founder of Harbor Sales Management, and I provide fractional sales leadership to small companies that are trying to grow to the size that Gary is helping to leave the business world with the cash out, and so companies that I work with. So I provide senior sales leadership for companies that really can't afford it, but can't afford it on a fractional basis. So we're talking primarily companies that are based here on Long Island, companies that are between 2 and 15 million in sales. And that's a level where they really do need to have serious professional attention paid to their sales, but really can't support even a 250,000 OTE sales manager, which is what they deserve, but they really can't have that. So typically you have the owner who's managing the sales because the owner created the company and she kind of built the company herself, and now she's grown to the point where she may even have a couple of salespeople, but there's no professional systems in place. So I provide on a fractional basis professional systems for their sales operation to function properly, to work as smoothly as possible, and to do it at a level that they can afford. Once that company gets to 15 million in sales, let's say. Now you can actually afford to have a full-time person that works for you. But in the meantime, I'm a helper. And typically my most common role is to be a helper to the owner who continues to oversee sales, as it were, but really doesn't have to devote 50% of his or her time to growing a business when they certainly have other things to do in terms of running a business. Because some of those projects that they've been putting off, I can handle those. Implementing CRM that people use and that's useful, creating a marriage between marketing and sales. The kinds of projects that are difficult to do when you're also trying to grow and manage a business.
Thank you very much for this. Well, okay.
I'm on Long Island as well. Is that just
Right on.
coincidental or on purpose?
I don't know. I definitely recognize the weather.
There you go. I'm in
No, you are where?
Northport today.
All right. Well, I'm not. I'm pretty far from that. I'm in Asheroken,
yeah,
which is in Northport. I know.
8 minutes from us. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty nice here, isn't it?
It's really funny.
That's awesome.
Actually, is
fantastic, man. That's great. That's great. Well, business networking and podcasting, right, Kev? So
yes, absolutely. So this conversation is great. Yeah, I love it. I welcome it. And it's such a coincidence.
So I mean, a lot of the companies that I don't want to jump into this, but primarily what I'm doing, I'm working with companies that are growing and that have grown to the point where they need some help. I have had some projects where there's companies that they're in the last year or two, and what they want to do is they want to use sales and profitability in those those last couple of years so that the business has greater valuation. And so there may be some opportunities for us, Kev, or to me and Gary to get together and see if there can be some stuff that we might do together. But
yeah, this is really good. I like it. Okay, yeah, let's keep it conversational and interactive. I think this is a great interaction, and that's actually exactly why we podcasting plus networking events. So we have these conversations. We know more about our businesses and also find ways to partner up and create synergies. So that's a great opportunity. Okay, so let's talk about what makes your company organization different in a way that how you think your organization is differentiated in the marketplace. That if you like to expand a little bit, you both talk about a little bit from your point of view. We can expand on it in terms of your differentiation points in the marketplace, if that's okay. Okay, so Gary, shall we talk about this with you first?
Yeah, sure. So I think what makes us unique, and I mentioned it initially, but I'll say it again, is our two-phased approach. So traditional investment bankers want to rush you to market as quickly as they can so they can get paid. We don't think of it that way. We really want to think about our client holistically, sometimes at the detriment to us, actually. But like I said, in that phase one, we want to present what we think the business is worth versus expectations, which sometimes is a very tricky and slippery slope to go on. Then we also want to educate our client. Many of our clients have never done this before. So what does a structure maybe look like? What do terms mean? Make sure they really understand these items before we get to a letter of intent or moving towards closing. So that's the first leg. That second leg is transaction ready, especially the smaller companies. Are they transaction ready? As you know, due diligence is a significant deep dive into your business, especially if it's a financial buyer. Are they ready? Do we want to, or the goal here is to mitigate risk, is to try to identify where risks might be and try to mitigate them now so they don't pop up in due diligence. So do we need a quality of earnings? Do we need a legal review? Do we need an HR review? Part-time CFO, a sales lead, who knows? But the goal really is to think about mitigating risk upfront. And then that third leg, as I had mentioned, is do we want to implement tax strategies? Because now is the time to do it. Do we want to think about trust in the state? Because again, not when you get a letter of intent, you don't have the ability to play with valuation or have the best scenario for your tax point of view, maybe not enough time, but we want to do that now. And if we're on the same page with that holistically, then we move forward. I think what also makes us unique about it is that we will work with $10, $20, $30 million businesses, whereas a traditional investment banker wouldn't get out of bed for that. We have no problem in doing that. We'll do it all day long and every day. Usually investment bankers don't go down to that size. They don't want to be bothered. We have no problem doing that. Been in business 20 years. I've been with the company 5 years, but I've been doing M&A for 18 years. I've also was a research analyst for Wall Street mutual fund and hedge funds. So I've got a very deep financial background. Although at the end of the day, it's a sales game. So yes, financial is very important, but you also have to position, you have to market, you have to think through how buyers look at it. And I think the other thing that makes us unique is we're honest, we're transparent. If we're going up against another firm and they say, oh, we think we can get you 9 times, and we think we can get you, and we think it's 4, we'd rather lose than set expectations incorrectly. We're honest, we're transparent, we tell it like it is, and we handhold where needed and where necessary all the way throughout the process.
I think this is really great, and what you do is very important. It is because we have a lot of organizations listening to watch us in the American Business Podcast and for the Connection America Podcasting Plus Networking event. And many of them are small and mid-sized organizations, and some of them are really retiring. So the boomers are retiring, the new generation is coming up. So I also see it myself, experiencing myself, that I can see that generations change nowadays. Businesses are changing hand, and also it's also the market is changing in that sense.
Yeah.
So
I would suggest also we started doing a lot of work in metals fabrication just along that line. Yes, there are people retiring, and yes, there are people who don't want the next generation, et cetera. Yes, that's a big part of our business. But the other part of our business is, coincidentally, in the metals fabrication business, there were 100 transactions in the last 3 years. And basically what's happening there is, yes, people are retiring, but if you're not investing in automation, if you're not innovating, if you can't find labor, your competitors are consolidating. Your competitors are consolidating horizontally and vertically. Distributors are buying fabricators. Fabricators are moving to distributors. So you're becoming at a competitive disadvantage as well. So you may not want to retire, but you may not be able to afford to compete either. So yes, it's retirement, but yes, it's are you able to compete?
Okay, yeah, this is a great point. So you just mentioned metal fabrication. So is it tied to what type of industries? You will say it's like aerospace or defense or automotive? Okay.
Infrastructure, all different types of tubing, steel, aluminum, stainless, tubing, welding, framing, it cuts across HVAC, home, aerospace, defense, it cuts across many, many different industries because it's the guts of many industries.
Absolutely, yes. I also seen it myself as well. So my background is actually business software. So we do work with all manufacturers, and I've seen the importance of what you just mentioned in terms of automation and catching up with the times to be more competitive, because times are changing. So I think what you just mentioned.
And you can't find labor anyway. So if you can't find labor and you can't automate, you can't grow, and then you shrink and you die basically.
Yeah, this is a great conversation. I appreciate it. Well, I have more questions for you, Gary, but coming up. It is coming up.
Yep,
okay, sounds good. Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Kevin, how about you? So what makes your organization different, and how are you differentiating your services in the marketplace? If you can share some insights with us.
There's 2 main things that I do for a business. Number one is I help them set up systems that help them to run their sales more professionally than they're currently doing or likely currently doing. The other side of it is I'm a manager too. I have over 30 years of senior sales experience, sales management experience. So I've worked with sales teams that are large and small. I'm working with teams that are small in this case, and we're talking 2-3 people. Typically the owner's leading the sales, or there may be a working sales manager at the level of a company that's 5 million in sales. they're not going to have a dedicated sales manager, a senior sales manager. They're going to have like a good sales rep who carries some accounts, and therefore may not have the breadth of experience that someone that has years in the business might have. And so, in addition to setting up the systems, I also will work with the teams. And here I want to talk a little bit about the difference between training and coaching, because people that are in sales development, typically, I'd like to think that they're two different things. And in my mind, sales training is a very valuable function. It's not what I do. Sales training is injecting information into sales reps. It almost always is cash flow positive. You will have an increase in your sales if you do training for your staff. They get pumped up, they learn some good techniques, and you'll see a lift. And then you'll see that it kind of peters out. And then, so one way that you might do it is to keep doing training every year, and we're going to have a predictable and cash flow positive injection, experience from having that person or that company come in. So that's training. Coaching, instead of injecting information, pushing information into people, it's more getting more out of people and helping individual sales reps in one-on-one sessions every week think about the calls that they're going to have that week, and to basically to think that to become better salespeople, and to become better salespeople by let's, for the sake of this, the device I'll use is there's an A salesperson, a B salesperson, C salespeople. A salespeople are superstars. They're driven. You might be lucky to get one of these shooting stars out of college or early in their career, and they just understand how to get to yes with the customer. They have empathy. They have business intelligence. And typically, when you get one of these people, again, they're probably going to get, if you're on Long Island and you have annual sales of $4 million, Google is going to hire that person. Amazon's going to hire that person away from you. It's going to happen in 6 to 18 months. So be happy when you have them, because they're fantastic, right? The B salesperson is organized. The B salesperson understands the things that they need to do. But what they don't do typically is think on their feet as well as that A salesperson does. They don't think through the sale before the sale happens. They don't think through the call. So I'll work with the B salesperson to get them to think more like an A salesperson. And that means in a one-on-one meeting, it's very simple and very tactical. What do you have coming up this week? 3 or 4 calls that are important to you for this week. Okay, let's talk about those. What's happening on this call? Where are you in the sales process? What's that person likely to, what's going to happen here? What are they likely to say? What are you going to hear? Because in any sales funnel, however you want to look at a journey, there's like 50 different objections that a typical salesperson might hear. There's just so many different idiosyncratic pieces of our business, right? But at a certain call at a certain time, they're going to hear 4 or 5 things. It's not like anything can happen day. It's like on this call, this is like, we did discovery. I did an initial presentation. You asked for a proposal. I came back with a proposal. Now I'm coming back to talk to you about this proposal, which we had agreed on. And so there's maybe 4 or 5, 6 things that can happen on that call. So I'll actually role play with the rep through what that call is going to be like, so that when the rep is in front of the client, when the words are coming out of her mouth, it's not the first time they've come out of her mouth. She's actually done them with the role playing with me, right? And now the superstar salesperson, they get this immediately. They understand, and they know that I need to think like my client, like my prospect, and I need to anticipate what they're likely to do. The B salesperson may not do this. They do everything else great, but I can help them be better and think more like that person that takes the time to understand what is likely to happen. And the next step is, and the last part of our conversation together is, so what's the next step for you? Like, what's the range of what would be good as a result of this call? And that could be, I want another meeting. I want to meet with someone else in the company, or I might hear no, and that's okay too. That's actually it's the second best outcome you can get in a call, right? 1 is yes. That's no, and 3 is I'll think about it, right? So you want to, but what's likely to happen on this call? So what makes me unique, I think, is that personal touch. Now I work with at any given time 3 to 6 companies, right? And I'm giving them a half a day to a day a week, and I can do that, and that for me here on Long Island, that scales, and I can provide for that company a level of professional sales manager that they typically wouldn't be able to afford until we can help them grow, and maybe they get to the point where they're going to be talking to Gary about exiting their business or moving on.
Kevin, could I add to that?
Sure,
Yeah.
please.
So,
Please.
well, I guess you're both Kevin. Kevin, the host. I add to that, Kevin Barry. What Kevin Barry does is extremely valuable to me, and I'll tell you why. As the business grows and does get to my level, it's very counterintuitive to owners, but the less they do, the more the business is worth. And the less sales they do and institutionalize it into the organization or push the relationships down, the more the business is worth, because then the seller can step out, and we talked about mitigating risk. You mitigate that risk. So Kevin is extremely important to clients of mine in their potential value. So I want to make note of that. The other thing that's unique about my business is actually two sales in one. So I've got to sell the client on my services, but then I have to find the buyer and sell my client to the buyer. So there's actually two sales processes in what I do. But what I wanted to make was that what Kevin does is very important for value. If all of the relationships and sales are locked up in the owner, that business is worth less than their peers.
I've always kind of sensed that, but that's never been articulated so well. So thanks for giving me another sales tool
Yes,
to get that sales, to get that owner out of the business of managing the sales, right? Because if it's an ego thing too, right, Gary? It's like
yes.
the owner kind of loves the fact that he is the business, right? He walks around.
It's very counterintuitive to an owner. Oh, I do everything. I'm so key. Chief bottle washer. The more you spend, the more you do, the less it's worth.
Yeah.
Yeah, these are great insights. Yes, appreciate it. Well, okay.
Hey, I'll add one more thing.
All right.
I said there's A and B and C salespeople. So I talked about the A's and the B's. So the C isn't like a loser. Like the D is the person that you don't have after a couple of months. The C is the person. Remember, I said the B doesn't have the anticipation of the sale, the thinking on their feet part, but they definitely have the. I know the things I need to do to have my act together. The C salesperson has good intentions and has potential and can be great. Can be good, actually. We want to coach the C up to a B. They don't have the systems of, like, they don't know how to fill out the CRM. They don't really understand the importance of the CRM. They don't understand how to do proper discovery. And so those are things that I'm also talking to those folks, and they are valuable. You're going to have as many B's and C's on your staff, but what we want is your B's to seem like A's and your C's to seem like B's.
Totally. Well, also, when we think about it, is to, like what you just mentioned. See, actually, you also keep the salespeople motivated. You keep them pretty sharp with your approach. That's also an important point to keep them sharp.
If one of the problems with the C is that they're not, like, I can't get to see anybody. Have you talked on the phone with them yet? No, I don't do that. No one does that. And of course, everybody has to do that if they want to make some sales. So the fact that they know that they're going to have some one-on-one time with someone, what we talked about 4 accounts last week. And then first question is, what about those 4 accounts that we just talked about? Or no, it's not like that. That's introducing tension. It's like, what do you think is going to happen?
Yeah, Joe just joined us. Good morning. Good morning, Joe.
Joe's long.
Good morning, gentlemen. Sorry I'm late.
That's right.
No longer a coincidence.
Vacation right now, and I ended up getting caught up in conversation. Realized I was half an hour late to this meeting. So, do I understand correctly that Gary, both you and Kevin, both have your podcast now with on the American Business Podcast channel?
No, I don't do a podcast, Joe.
Yeah. So yes, this is our
yes. Do a podcast.
Yeah. Joe just started his podcast. Yeah, absolutely. So if you can, let's talk about Joe. What do you do? Before I invite you to the stage, Kevin. Sorry to interrupt. You were talking, and then I just interrupted. My apologies.
No.
If you'd like to finish your thought.
You sensed that I was done. The answer to that question.
Okay.
So we're good.
Okay. Well, Okay, so why don't we do this? Job's join us, right? So let's also hear from him just to make sure we are on the same page and also catch up our audience with this conversation. So this is our podcasting plus networking event, right? So we network. And it's a special event. We podcast and network at the same time. And this is from other networking events because it's special. You can interact more. And at the same time, you are now more than 150,000 YouTube subscribers of the American Business Podcast. So that's what makes it unique. Joe, welcome to the Connection America Podcasting Plus Networking event powered by the American Business Podcast.
That's awesome. Kevin, thank you so much. I appreciate it. So I am Joe Beauchamp, and I just started my international leadership podcast under the channel of the American Business Podcast. So check that out. If you're a viewer or listener right now, you can look me up. And my company is Beauchamp Team Growth Solutions. We provide leadership development strategies, training, coaching for businesses to help them grow their leadership team. We know that as leaders develop and become better leaders, their results get better. So if you could even get a 10% increase in your productivity of your team, what would that really be worth for investing in developing your people? And that's really why we are here to do that. So on the International Leadership Podcast, we spread good international universal leadership principles that everybody can apply in their own lives and their own businesses to become their next better level version of themselves. And so the hope is to get good leaders from around the world in and kind of break down what they're doing that's working and let everybody kind of see them, get to know them, and learn from them to apply those principles in their own lives. So that's why we're here. And I happen to know Gary and Kevin for a couple of years now through the HIA and maybe some other networking organizations that we're part of together. As a matter of fact, actually, that's how I met Kevin Devecioglu, is through the HIA as well. So great networking opportunity.
Absolutely, yes. Small world, and I'm glad we are all connected and we can expand into our connection again today. And also, Joe, just to know,
Are you located on Long
go ahead,
Island
Gary.
as well, Kevin?
Actually based in Queens. So yes, Long Island City is our headquarters, I must say. That's where we work out of. But because I'm a co-chair of HALI Manufacturing Committee, and we have clients and customers on the island, I'm on the island pretty often.
Gotcha. Well, Queens is
Yeah.
on the island, but not
Technically.
technically.
Just don't tell
Yes.
people in Queens and Brooklyn that they're part of the island.
Geographically, yes, right? That's true.
Yeah.
I love
Well,
it. Thank you.
For anyone who doesn't live on Long Island, it will be counterintuitive that they would think, but Long Island City is not Long Island.
That's true.
Even though it's
That's
in the
true.
name. It isn't.
Yes.
It isn't. It's definitely, it's right
You're
across
right.
the bridge from the city, from Manhattan.
You're right. Also, Joe, just for our audience to also know, can you also share your email and website just for them to know in this conversation, so they'll know from the in case they
thank
like to
you.
be in touch
So
with you.
the website to find me would be beauchampteam.com. Beauchamp is spelled BEAUCHAMP. In the event that you can't see it on the screen, beauchampteam.com. And you can reach me at jbeauchamp@beauchampteam.com, or as it's posted below, info@beauchampteam.com. They both come straight to me. So those would be great ways to reach out to me.
Okay,
info@beauchampteam.com.
perfect. Okay, sounds great. So I'll keep bringing this information on the screen for our audience to know, in case they like to be in touch with you. Also, I think. Yeah. So, Joe, one more cue, so we can all be on the same page fundamentally. So, what makes your organization different in terms of your services that you're offering to the companies and organizations? How would you define it that you can share with us?
So I say that I think the most important thing about what I do that differentiates me from a lot of the other people that do very similar things. Number one is that what I do works. It's not hocus pocus. It's not, it's not some bizarre strategies. It's real proven business strategies that have been shown to work time and time again. We get the results with our clients. The other thing is that we custom design it to the needs of the audience, right? So depending upon the size of the business, what their pain points are, we design a program for them, as well as it's flexible. So what we set up, let's say we set this up in it's February, it's the end of February right now. So let's say we set up an arrangement with a business in March, and they have certain needs that are pressing at that time, and then come April, something catastrophic happens to their business, or some kind of shift happens, or some immediate need arises. We don't just keep marching with the original plan. We shift with that company and help them to navigate through that. And so our plan with that organization is flexible, where we live and implement good leadership strategies, which is flexing to the needs that are the most important things that are going on with that company right now. So step by step, we're helping that organization to improve their culture and their productivity, their mindset, their way of thinking, their day-to-day habits. Even, we'll see even upgrade in the way people speak to each other, the way conversations happen, the way people dress, the way people carry themselves. Everything upgrades in those organizations that we work with.
Okay, great. Thank you, Joe, for these. Okay, I think let's continue our conversation all together, if that's okay. All right, so let's talk about AI a little bit, and then I have one more question that I'd like you to address. But this is actually a pretty popular subject in general. So when we think about AI, I'm seeing it a lot because I'm in technology myself. I see a lot of interest from small and mid-sized businesses. I talk to enterprise companies as well, and they have most of the time their internal teams figured out in their own way with their resources. Some American small and mid-sized businesses, they are really trying to catch up with the AI technology, and they are really interested in actually utilizing it for automation purposes, for digitization, and for business workflow improvements in general. So what is your take on AI? What do you think about AI on business, its impact? Your clients are using AI. Are you implementing AI in your own practices? If you can tell us your thoughts, that'd be great. It's going to be a pretty exciting conversation. It's because our audience, they love this. They're all business-minded professionals, of course, and that's a pretty popular subject. Gary, shall we start with you?
Yeah,
if
sure.
That's okay.
So
Thank you.
on the one hand, I'm quite nervous for my 20-year-old son and my two 18-year-old kids, because I think it is a tremendous disruptor. Not sure how it will play out, but how I use it, I use it extremely a lot in my day-to-day. It increases my productivity tenfold, I guess. I don't know the exact number, but I use it for research on intro calls. I use it for research on buyers. I use it for writing emails. I use it for marketing materials. I know they're pretty basic for what AI can do, but in my world, they are extremely productive, and my ability to do more and better, to be honest, sometimes is just off the charts. It writes better than me, to be honest. It researches better than me, and it provides what I need. So I've got a prompt set up every intro call. I've got the same prompt. I plug in the company. It gives me exactly what I need. Intro meeting, same thing. I was at a meeting on Wednesday in New Jersey, pumped it in, and exactly what I need. I know it's much more sophisticated than that. And actually, the company I saw on Wednesday is a metal manufacturing company. They are they put in agents that help in the manufacturing process. They've built robots. So they've done a tremendous job with it. They're using it in marketing, whereas they make a product today, and then they try to research who else can use that same stainless steel metal product. Genius, actually, absolute genius. So what I do is pretty basic, but I've seen tremendous improvements in my day-to-day productivity in using it.
Yes. So it was, I believe, last week, but it was actually previous week. Yeah, I was at a presentation. So That's a group of professionals. They get together monthly basis, business owners mostly. So I got invited to that meeting, and they asked me to make a presentation, informative presentation about AI and AI practices. So yeah, I had a chance to talk to a couple of manufacturers in that group, property, building managers, service providers, food and beverage companies. I talked to them. So I mean, this is definitely a popular subject. I'm glad that you talk to a company they already deploy, and deployment of AI is actually easier than before. I mean, this technology used to be Fortune 500 technology, really. Like, it was really expensive before and more complex. Now it's accessible, affordable. It's really simplified in a way that business can learn pretty quickly, implement very quickly. So that's really in favor of businesses in general. And
Or to add to that, just using this
Sure.
this one I went to see because it was very impressive. There was a lady sitting at a machine. The machine was going. So I asked the owner. I said, "Well, what does she do?" And well, he said, quite frankly, not much anymore. She just sits there and sort of stares at it. But what he did say is she has no problem in losing her job. He said, "Just double my company." And he can basically double the size of the company with the exact same staff. The profitability in that is off the charts.
Impressive. Yes, that's definitely a great conversation. Okay, well, Kevin, how about you? Any insights from you about? I saw you mentioned about CRM, right? So one of my expertise areas, and AI is actually pretty much pretty functional actually in CRM practices, sales and marketing. But we'd love to hear from you your insights. What do you think about AI? Its impact on businesses?
Well, like Gary, I'm a user, and I have clients or prospects that are users, and like Gary, I'm like a little embarrassed at how simple the usage is, but it's a tool, and for instance, all right, the research that I can do on a prospect is so vastly better. I can genuinely understand that company so much better using that as a research tool for my own prospecting. Similarly, for my clients, and I'm still at the point where there's people that just don't understand how to use it. So I'll say, okay, type ChatGPT into your URL bar. I'll hit enter. All right, who are you going to be seeing today for your first call? They type this in there into the search bar. New chat. I'm calling today on a manufacturer of a consumer product that is in the third generation. They have $3 million in revenue. They do business in Suffolk County, New York. Basically, who you're going to talk to. What are the issues that they're facing this year? Who are their competitors? Okay, now hit enter. And up comes the most perfectly researched idea to give them genuine empathy, understanding, so that they're not wasting their time on that first discovery call with so tell me about your business. It's like, because for a lot of those people, they're like, don't you have a computer? Why don't you tell me how your business can help my business? So as a research tool, I think it's invaluable for me and also for clients. I also think that, again, tactically, it's fantastic for CRM just in the processing that you can do with it. The optical character recognition, OCR, right? That's, I take notes on my pad, and I write it on here. I spit it out to my CRM, and I'm sorry, through AI, and it will interpret those notes and put them into CRM in a way that's useful for the people that are going to be looking at that down the road. So it helps with recording, and let's say a discovery call. You can record discovery calls. This is when a lot of the most important interchange of information takes place. So if you're using if you're doing what we're doing, if you're using Zoom, use it to analyze the discovery call. If you're doing a Zoom call, or if you're in the room, do you mind if I record this? Because frankly, it's going to help me understand how I can help you better. And then you hit record on your phone. And all of those things are simple but extremely powerful tools that can help us, serve clients better, work more efficiently, work faster.
Yes, that's true. That's true. An AI employee can be your 24 hours employee for sales and marketing. Can work for you really without a break.
Hey, don't go. No.
Pretty cool. No, it's
Not
a
so
tool,
fast, no,
right?
that
It's a team
That's
member,
right.
right? So you basically just bolt it on your team, and it becomes one of them. As a matter of fact, so some organizations, they have their organization chart, right? So they have the human employees, they have AI employees. So it becomes a team member, right? Because it's actually creating synergies right there in terms of what you do. So it's very complementary, to the workforce. Absolutely. So that's where I was going. Okay, great. Well, Joe, how about you? What is your take on AI?
Yeah, so I
Yes.
gave that presentation to the committee that you co-chair with the HIA back, was it like 2 months ago now? Was it December?
Yes.
Or
Time flies.
whenever we were back there, yeah.
Yes.
So, but everybody's using AI right now. I use AI. I use really a tiny portion of AI, and I'm in the phase right now of exploring different ways to use different means. I'd like to create my own app, and I'm 100% confident that I could do it using AI tools right now. So there's lots of different things that people can do. AI automations. Most people think of AI and they think of ChatGPT. There's just so much more out there than that. Even some of the things that people use ChatGPT for, there's other platforms that are better at it. For example, Perplexity is a platform that's considered to be better than ChatGPT when it comes to doing research or any kind of real-time stuff. And other platforms are better for getting like social sentiment and things like that are more real time. So it's kind of important right now to do your research on which AI you need to use and how to use it. And the other thing is I'm going to say it's really more important now than ever to know your real information, right? To have real human intelligence, human knowledge, and human experience. Because AI, if somebody was sitting in front of me and they said, "Okay, Joe, I did some research and I came up with this as an answer, and I think it's this," right? I'd be like, "Oh yeah, so let me just double check that because this person is inexperienced. He's really not sure about his answer. I can read his body language and his facial expression, and I understand that this person's information is a little sketchy, right?" But ChatGPT is not like that at all. ChatGPT is a bold, incorrect liar. But it tells you very confidently information that it just scooped up, right? It goes out and it based upon like AI doesn't really know anything. It takes combinations of your words and it just looks out at what's out there and it just returns back information. That information can be wrong, but it's so bold. If we just take it at face value, we're gonna believe it's true. AI is a competitive software that's competing with other competitive AI programs. So it wants to make me happy using the software. So it's answering me in ways that it thinks it's going to keep me engaged. Like it's got an ulterior motive than just serving my motive. Its ulterior motive is me sticking with, let's say, ChatGPT over Perplexity, or Perplexity over Claude, or Claude over, whoever other version. So we've got to keep that in mind. And so some people say, "Oh, well, you just ask it to be honest." But what you're going to get when you ask it to be honest is you're going to get the answer that comes up from including honesty in your prompt. It doesn't mean that it's honest or more honest. It just answers the way that it thinks you want to be spoken to when you're asking for honesty, right? So it could still be giving you fake information. It's just giving you different fake information than what you asked for without the honesty prompt. So, that's what I said. It's critical right now to know the reality before you ask ChatGPT or any of these other AI platforms. And you got to go with your gut. Like you got to train your gut. For example, let's say you have, like most people don't use AI. Like the common users that we deal with, small businesses, stuff like that, are not using AI for data analysis, but AI is great for data analysis. But you have to have a gut feeling for what the data should be showing you anyway. Like if you don't look at the data yourself and go like, I think it should be this, like you have to be able to verify, like you need the real world knowledge to be able to verify the conclusions that your AI system is spitting out, saying, because it's basically advising you on decision making based upon your data. And an experienced data analyst knows, what the data is really saying and can determine, okay, is that valid or is it not valid, right? They know how to look into it further and get the real information. So now more than ever, it's time to use human intelligence and amplify that, supplement that with the AI. That's my take on it.
Great. Thank you very much. Well, okay. In this round, let's talk about some challenges in the market that you see that you add with your service, with your company, and your products and services and your expertise, if that's okay. We talked about this, I'm sure, earlier, but we can dive deeper on it as to what challenges that you are actually helping organizations solve with your services, if that's okay. And we can dive more about your company, your organizations in this. Gary, shall we start with you?
Yeah, sure. So
Thank you.
maybe just repeat the question again. I wasn't
Yes, absolutely.
100% sure.
So, what are the common challenges that you're addressing with your company services? For example,
I see. Okay.
yes.
I thought what are my common challenges in the market? Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean,
our-
actually,
our-
what you do is very important, right? Because you are working with different organizations and helping them really grow in a way. So, please expand on it.
What my challenge is helping a business owner exit. Period. Really, that's what we do. Now there are lots of challenges in their businesses that they might not like. Client concentration, owner risk, the price, the value, the terms. But at the end of the day, if you've got a house on the right of you that's worth 500,000 and a house on the left of you that's worth 600,000, you're not going to be worth 2 million. You might have a nicer house, which is a premium, but you're still in a peer group. So most businesses trade in a peer group. And then there's quantification, and then there's qualification as to what makes a business trade at a premium or a discount to that peer group. And it's, again, an art and a science, of course. But like this company I mentioned the other day, they would trade at a premium given their sales, their automation, their use of technology. A company that goes to Kevin Barry, that basically the owner does all the sales, that would trade at a discount. A company that has high concentration in a customer, that would trade at a discount. Things like that. And unfortunately, business owners don't understand that, potentially don't want to understand that, and think they have the shiniest object on the block every single time. So we try to be very careful. It's very costly. It's very time consuming to go through a sale process. So if we think the business is worth 10 million and they think the business is worth 50 million, there's going to be a lot of unhappy people at the end. So we won't even go further. We close on about 80% of our transactions because we really do the work up front to make sure we're on a similar page, to make sure they're educated on terminology, what's a rollover, what's an earnout, what's not, are they good, are they bad, etc. And then we make sure that we can get to close because everybody's on the same page and realistic in their expectations.
Yeah, this is really important. Thank you, Gary. I appreciate it.
Yeah, we fight with, my cousin Vinny, he sold his business for 15 times, and nobody really knows what that actually means per se.
Great point. Kevin, how about you from your point of view?
So, no deep thoughts on like macro issues. Although, I mean, tariffs, frankly, working with manufacturers as I do are a significant issue right now. But it's not something I can address, but that's a common issue. A common issue that I think happens on the sales side is just working with a growing company that is successful and has become, I wouldn't call it a victim of their own success, but they become captive to their own success, that they've grown quickly and the manager is the one that's, the owner is the one that's continuing to manage the sales team. And something else that happens at the same time is not only do you see the need for having professional sales, you also are maybe starting to nurture something like a marketing department. And I think it's really important for companies to integrate marketing and sales together. I had a sales job decades ago, and we had a joke, and it's not such a funny joke now because I love marketing people, but we called the marketing department was called the sales prevention department because we thought that they didn't understand the process, they didn't really understand our customers, and it was, it was pejorative, and I'm ashamed of that part of myself. Yeah, so. I think that they really need to work together, and marketing is such a key part of sales that, even if it's you have a client rep that really happens to work great with the customers, maybe understands social marketing, and now she's going to be kind of like the first marketing person that we've had. I've had a couple of situations like this. This is my marketing person. So having them get involved in sales early on and understand like their first job, marketing's first job is to get leads, but not just any leads, but the right leads, right? So that starts with defining, an ICP, an ideal client or customer profile. And then you want to generate leads that match that profile. That happens only if sales leadership and marketing leadership, which, with the companies I'm working with, is a pretty good rep who happens to be like a working sales manager and someone that's running our social media, but they do actually, they're going to grow into these roles at their company. So making sure that they're talking to each other early on, and so that they understand each other, and that if marketing doesn't understand the ideal client profile, that's sales' responsibility. And so begin to get that involved, and then it's sales job calling on these folks, like do the right thing, like get back to the leads that you got quickly, so that marketing has the best opportunity to have their leads be successful. And then also share that what you're hearing. What are common objections that I, the salesperson, am hearing, or that my staff is hearing? What are snags that we get, like systemic snags that we're getting to developing proposals, and being able to inform marketing what is actually working or not. And not only does it make the process more valuable, I think it builds a teamwork that is not common in a lot of companies. It's like marketing has their own thing, and they're like, eggheads, ivory tower. Sales is another group that's like these street smart, tough guys that make too much money and don't work hard. And I think it's much better for the two to work together. And so as a theme that I'm seeing emerging among my small group of companies that have single millions of dollars a year, but seeing $1 to $9 million in sales a year, that this is the growing pains and the opportunities that they're going through. And I think the more that we can get marketing and sales to understand that they really do power each other, and create some marketing, by the way, comes back from the feedback that they get from sales. Now they can do a better job of honing in on the proper customer, understanding that customer, and most importantly, nurturing that customer, because the role that marketing plays at that next step, and I don't even know if I've mentioned this yet, my clients are B2B clients, 100% of them. I don't have B2C clients, I have B2B clients. That's a long sales cycle. And it's not transactional, it's relationship built, right? That when you're going to close these B2B sales. And one of the ways to do that is I make an initial presentation. We kind of hit it off well. They're not in the market right now though, but they might be in 9 months or whatever. I have to stay in touch with that person. So one of the jobs that marketing needs to have and then need to understand is stay in touch with that person, and don't do it by sending an email, just checking in. How many, we're business owners, right? How many of those do we get? Because we're just checking. It's so worthless and so lazy. And you have so much information, success stories among your customers. Use AI to write a great article on your industry and some of the important things that are happening, and send that out as under your leadership. Provide something of value on a regular basis to those customers that you're developing. And that really isn't a sales job. It's sales job to send the communication. I think it's marketing's job to develop the content that helps you become an email that you're at least not detesting, and probably even valuing when you get it in your inbox. So, and then at the very end, of course, it's then sales comes in and they can close the business, they create the customer, and then it's marketing's job to create loyalty, right? So it one feeds into the other, and to create a loyal customer that can be a source of success stories for you, that can inform your product development perhaps, and so the more that we can from the very beginning have marketing and sales working together, I think the more successful we can be as new and growing companies.
I'd be curious. This is my experience, but Kevin Kevin B and Joe, you may or may not have a similar one. I've met with hundreds of business owners over the years. The most successful companies that I've worked with, the owner is an A-type salesperson. Rarely is it the CFO. Rarely, no offense, Kevin D. Rarely is it an IT programmer, or it's usually an A-type salesperson, which is a pro and a con, because he's got to learn to institutionalize his A-type salespeople or her down into the organization, which is where Kevin B comes in.
You are 100% right, Gary. And which is no, and one of that it's an A-type salesperson, which is good and bad. And one of the bad is that means they don't understand that their obsession is actually, holding them back in a little, in ways, right? And that they need to share, and they need to maybe even step back and take a breath. But being that A-type person is what helped build the business in the very first place. But yeah, absolutely.
Sales, you have no business. Right?
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Great point. Joe, what type of common challenges that you see in your clients that you help them solve and address?
So most business owners, at least small business owners, go into business, or entrepreneurs that start their businesses, they're good at something, right? And so we were just discussing this type A salesperson who starts their own business, and now they're the business owner, and what they get good at their product, they get good at sales, they get good at the market, they get good at different aspects of it, and they're not always focused on getting good at being a good leader. And so we find that people can generally lead probably about a dozen people. And then as their company starts to scale, now I have, 2 leaders that are underneath me, and each of them have a dozen people. And then they're going to have people underneath them, and each of those people are going to have a dozen people. And at some point in time, my lack of focus on creating good company culture, my lack of focus on developing the leaders underneath me, ends up meaning that I have a weakness in my leadership team, and I have to carry the weight of more and more people. I'm doing more and more of the decision making myself. I'm doing more and more of the problem solving myself. And I come to work every day and I'm getting more and more frustrated. And I find that it's more and more of a headache. As I've grown my team, I'm growing more of the problems. And so what I do is I help them to develop their leaders underneath them. Even from a sales perspective, like we're talking about this A-type salesperson who's a really great salesperson, and that person's the CEO, and they close a lot of business, and that's why the company has grown to the point that it is. They're not necessarily good at training their sales leaders on how to be good sales leaders and how to create a good sales team. I'll go in there and train them on good leadership strategies on how to be a good leader, to replicate yourself, your leadership skills, to make a team of good leaders. And so what ends up happening is we end up with a multiplicity of people of the same cultural value system, right? And when I talk about cultural values, is that the culture of a company is, you can just say, like, this is how we do it here, right? And hopefully that's good, but also it works in the negative. Your culture could be a negative culture. It's not taking you on your mission. It's counter mission, because how we do it here is not effective to reaching, our goals with our clients, right? But that how we do it here is the company culture, and it's based upon values. And a lot of people aren't deliberate about creating that strong company culture, or they don't know how to inculcate the next set of leaders into that culture. And that's where I come in. I can see the symptoms of what they're experiencing today, relate those to root cause problems that they could have addressed, 5 or 10 years ago, but didn't put enough focus on it then. And therefore there's weaknesses in their leadership team. And I help to fix those weaknesses in those different leaders. We strengthen the leadership team. Now everybody's rowing in the same direction at the same time, enthusiastically. So the results improve, and stress goes down at the same time, because now there's a multiple of people carrying the weight. There's a multiplicity of people making decisions using the same value system. And so they're going to make very similar decisions in the same direction as the mission for the company. So emotion level drops down. We get calmer, more peaceful people. Morale improves. Sales go up. Customer relationship goes up. Understanding goes up. Synergies between silos in the organization improve, right? So what Kevin is talking about, you have the marketing team saying, oh, those salespeople, they're like the enemy. And the sales team's like, oh, if the marketing team just did their job, our lives would be so much easier. And instead of throwing stones back and forth over this wall, we break down the wall, we get the people together, and now they love and appreciate both sides of it, right? And so we didn't throw in the engineering team and the people who actually make the products and design it and stuff like that, who may think, wow, this is the best thing since sliced bread, but our customer experience isn't that. So let's get our product managers with our relationship managers together so that the product that we're designing is actually meeting the needs of our customer, and they're happy and they know how to use it and they're getting the full value out of it. So getting those synergies together involves calming the emotions down so that people can be on the same team and actually love and value and appreciate each other instead of throwing stones over these walls. And so that's when I go in and I help calm that down and solve those problems. People will tell me that, literally a day after I'll have a workshop with the leadership team, they'll say, Joe, the company feels different today. And so that means that we're on the right track of actually making some real improvements. We identify what's the behavior that we want to see, what's the behavior that we're currently seeing, and we plot a course on getting from where we are now to where we want to go.
Well, in this last round, do you have any questions to each other?
I want to, Gary, when are you going to have your podcast?
Yeah, I'm not sure I'm a podcast. I started listening to them recently. I know I'm probably a little bit late, but they're quite overwhelming, and I've been listening to them actually. But as far as doing my own, I'm not so sure. That's what I do. Although I don't know. You never know. You never know. I don't know.
We got Kevin here, who's a great a resource for that. He can guide you step by step, make the process easy.
Sure,
and
my pleasure.
Kevin Barry, I happened while we were talking here, I'm like, I wonder if you have a podcast. I noticed on your website that you do have a podcast. I'm gonna have to take a listen to that. Both of you, all of you, are really smart people and have a lot of great value to add. And I'm interested in hearing more from all of you.
Well, I don't have a podcast. I've been on podcasts, and that might be what you see on this.
Oh, so that's what I'm seeing there. The podcast that you've been on? Okay. It looked like it was your podcast.
But you're on
that's
that
same question to you. When are you going to start your podcast?
Yes.
Share some of your wisdom and experience.
Oh, is that a real question?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know. That's my answer.
All right. Well, at some point in time, I'd like for both of you to be on my podcast, the International Leadership Podcast. It's not just for international, right? It's local, U.S. and global. So I would love to invite the two of you.
I do have a question, Joe. So for Kevin B, it's clear what his metric is: increased sales. For me, it's clear. I guess not metric, but success, right? It's easy to measure Kevin B's success. Sales are up. It's easy to measure my success. We sold the company for $50 million. Joe, yours is softer, I guess, is right, or fungible a little bit. And again, not a negative, just a little bit softer than a metric. When you start, our metric is X, Y, and Z, and when I finish, my metric should be X, Y, and Z plus 20%. What is that?
So that's defining what we're trying to improve with the business owners is part of the initial onboarding process. Like, what do you really want to improve, and how are we going to measure that so we can give you a measurable result at the end of it, right? So it's nice that people say, hey, Joe, the company feels better, but what's the dollar value on that feeling, right? So it's easier when I work with, let's say, sales teams as well, because everybody always knows their sales numbers. So when the sales numbers goes from one level to the next level, or they're growing, they know that it's gone up 20%. They know the exact dollar amount to it. They know the exact amount that they're paying me for training their leadership team, and they can see the end result of that. It's an easy math. But you're right. The leadership side of that is seen in a slower pace, right? We're looking for improvements in quality performance. We're looking at improvements in productivity. We're looking for improvements in sales, profitability. One of the basic measurements might just be revenue per employee, which is just a real simple metric for measuring the company. If everybody's doing a better job and we're getting more customers and we're being more efficient, our revenue per employee or our profit per employee should be increasing. So, but coming up with those metrics is an important part. It could just be we do a 360-degree review of their leadership that they're looking to try to improve, and we rate those leaders, and then we ask their teams 6 months later to evaluate them on the same scale and determine whether they've shown leadership growth in that time frame, which of course they always do. So ultimately, we're looking for long-term improvements in productivity, profitability, sales, and some of it is that qualitative. The company just feels better. I don't have as many headaches. I don't feel like strangling as many employees. I'm not stressed out. I don't want to quit or sell the company or leave. So stress levels are down, morale is up. The company just feels better. That's definitely part of
the company, but that's a little bit selfish. But and Joe and Kevin B, just a follow-on question to that. What is your average term of an engagement? How long, Joe? You said long term. How long does that sort of take? Kevin B, obviously everyone thinks about year over year, but is that case? I mean, in my case, a typical engagement is about 9 to 10 months. So just curious as to, engagement length.
So once someone is a client, I mean, I'm not talking about the pursuit part, but once they're a client, 6 months is average. I'd certainly like it to be longer. I'll let them know that, I'll provide them with a recommendation of how to, based on what we talked about here, here's how your business could be better. You can do this yourself, and then this is, I'll charge them for the, the work I've done. You can do it with me, or you can just give it to me. And so the most common thing is do it with me. And after a certain amount of time, the guy feels like, the woman feels like they've got their hands on stuff. There may be a special project that they wanted to work on. And so I'm kind of taking the load off of while they pursue a new business opportunity area. That's been a couple of times that's happened. I wish it were longer, and we'll keep working on it. But ideally, they grow so fast that they don't need me anymore because they can hire someone that they're bringing in. But typically, it's about 6 months of actually doing the work.
I ask clients to commit to a 6-month engagement, and then after that, it usually just they either sign on for another 6 months, or they sign on month to month. I've got clients that have been with me for years. They continue to grow. They continue to hire new people, and to them, it just makes more sense. Just send them to Joe Beauchamp, right? Just get Joe Beauchamp in here. He's really the expert in this stuff. Why change what's already working? So a lot of companies will take all their new people, and once they go through their onboarding process, which I've helped them to develop, they'll send them to me for kind of my onboarding process, and I elevate them, and I'll stay with them working as a coach and mentor, helping them to continuously elevate their leadership and overcome challenges, and they continue to grow. And so then that person goes from a lower level leader to a middle level leader to a higher level leader, and I'm working with people, and it's a great experience for me to watch them grow and develop and get promotion in the company and get bigger and bigger results, and overcome bigger and bigger challenges and bigger problems. So that's what I really love. So the engagements could last years. The client that I'm literally in a client's office right now. I've been engaged with this client for the last 5 years. I've worked with all of their with the half of the company that I work with. Everybody that's come into this half of this company in the last 5 years has come through my training and coaching to some degree.
What's funny about my business, unique again, is you guys want to be there longer. I would love to shave months off my engagement if I could.
Yeah.
It would be great if I could do what I do in 6 months or 3 months, but it just doesn't happen, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, each business is different, and that's what we are here. And also, because it's a podcasting plus networking event, we can see how complementary each other's businesses here, and also this is also a great partnership opportunity for all of us. We just passed an hour mark, so I'd like to get your final thoughts, final remarks before we end the podcasting plus networking event, if that's okay. Gary, any final thoughts, notes that you'd like to share with us?
I love, Kevin, how you always choose me to go first. There's one big one is that, in selling a business, there is a lot of time that could happen. Theoretically, you could be working 2-3 years in advance of coming to me. So let's call it 3 years for argument's sake. My process could take up to a year. So let's call it another year for easy math. And then usually the owner has to stay on 1, 2, maybe 3 years at the most. So even before you get to me, you're at 3 years, then me is a year, and then you're 2 to 3 years. So that's, 6, 7 years? Owners don't think of it that way. And a lot of these baby boomers in their late 50s, early 60s, later, they're thinking a year and they're done, or 6 months and I'm out. You got to think years. So if you're in your mid 60s, you're thinking early 70s. And I don't think they know that. I don't think they think about that, the amount of time it takes to do what I do, and the amount of time you have to commit after in doing what I do. So if I were to say, if you're in your mid 60s or late 50s even, or later, you got to start thinking about it, because I don't think you want to be in your 70s and still figuring this out because your time is running short.
I appreciate it. Thank you for this. Kevin, any final notes from your side?
Yeah, a lot of business owners think they're the best salesperson for their company, right? Because they grew up that way. And the fact is, they are the best salesperson for the stuff that they sell, because they know the product, they're authoritative, they can get answers to their prospects or clients immediately because they are the authority, right? However, they also need to be a top-notch financial person. They need to be a top-notch operations person, and all of those hats are too many to wear at one time. The one that comes easiest is sales, because it's the one that you built your business on. But there comes a point at which you're managing sales, and you shouldn't be. You should be doing things that are broader than that, and certainly be involved in sales. But if you're starting to feel the strain that you're really not growing your company as well as it should be, maybe it's time to start offloading some of that and build some more systems and some more processes in your company that'll help it run more efficiently and grow even faster.
Joe, any final notes before we end the event today?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to say that if you're not having fun doing what you're doing something wrong, right? So there's definitely a better strategy out there to do it. Work should be fun. Obviously, there's going to be a stressful part of work, but it should be fun. We should be achieving. We should be winning. We should be working with people that we enjoy being with. Overall, it should be a fun experience. We should wake up Monday morning and saying, thank God it's Monday. I have another opportunity to go do what I love doing and go make a difference in the world. So if that's not you, think about what you need to do to take it closer to being there.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Gary, Kevin, Joe, thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you, Kevin. Appreciate it.
You bet.
You gentlemen.
Connection America event. Yes, absolutely. It was a great conversation, very informative. I hope you find it to be informative and great connection today in this event. Thank you for being with us, and I wish you a great weekend. Thank you.
Thanks, you too.
Thanks.
Well, our audience and to our listeners, I hope you enjoyed today's Podcasting Plus networking event. If you like to join and be part of this event, you can scan this QR code and you can sign up for the next one. We organize this monthly Podcasting Plus networking event on monthly basis. And you are more than welcome to join us, introduce yourself, your products, your services, and also what makes you different. We love to hear from you, and it's a great opportunity in that sense to talk about your business and also introduce it to our audience. Thank you very much for being with us today, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in the coming Podcast Plus networking event. Have a great day, and thank you very much. Would you like to listen to music during your work time? We are here to help. We created ABP Office Music Pod, powered by the American Business Podcast. ABP Office Music Pod is for you, the working professional. You can enjoy jazz, lo-fi, smooth jazz, classic music, and more during your work time. We keep the music positive and energetic. You can go to the YouTube channel of the American Business Podcast, or you can scan this QR code and start listening right away. There is more coming in the American Business Podcast, and this is one of them. Enjoy ABP Office Music Pod during your work time, and thank you very much for your support. Support for the American Business Podcast comes from Reddit. Do you know the biggest challenge nowadays for American small businesses? That is visibility. That's why we partner with Reddit for Business. There are more than 440 million visitors weekly on Reddit. Furthermore, Reddit is reliable, and millions of users are going to Reddit to get the real feedback from real people. It is the number one source for real reviews on products, services, and brands. There is a promotion going on that I'd like you to consider and take advantage of. When you spend $500 on Reddit for advertising, you'll get $500 in advertising credit. True story. I am a Reddit user, and anytime I like to have feedback or review for a product or service, I go to Reddit and I talk to Reddit communities. I get the real feedback and real review from real people and real communities. Scan this QR code and sign up for Reddit advertising. Get the visibility for your company, for your products and services on Reddit with Reddit advertising. Reach people ready to buy your products and services with Reddit advertising. Scan the QR code and sign up today. Thank you for your support. Support for the American Business Podcast comes from Anywhere Apps by Kerr Consulting, now Cherry Baker. Anywhere Apps are designed to help you digitize and automate your business processes. Anywhere Apps are a family of business software products. There are more than 40 products available for business process digitization and automation. Anywhere's apps are easy to use, they are standalone, and they are also ready to integrate with your ERP and accounting software systems. Today, I'd like to promote APS Anywhere, which is part of Anywhere Apps software product portfolio. APS Anywhere, designed for manufacturing companies. Whether you are a process manufacturing company, food and beverage, chemical, and more, or a discrete manufacturing company, automotive, aerospace, electronics, and more. APS stands for Advanced Planning and Scheduling. APS Anywhere is ready to streamline, digitize, and automate your production planning process. As you know, in manufacturing, production planning is not easy. There are always some bottlenecks and challenges. You need to put together your resources, 3M, man, machine, and material. APS Anywhere designed to streamline this process and automate it for you. It is a modern system. It runs on cloud. It also has deployment options for installation on your server or your private cloud environment. The system is scalable. It comes with unlimited number of production planning scenarios, meaning before you execute, you can see the financial implications and timing of your production planning on APS Anywhere. APS Anywhere comes with a very colorful and easy-to-use Gantt chart so that you can see your production planning on a colorful and easy-to-operate Gantt chart before you finalize your production planning purposes. The system is also integratable. It is ready to integrate your ERP system, MRP system, and other systems whenever there is a need. It is designed for manufacturing companies by manufacturing experts. It also comes with ready-made reports if you like to utilize it. Furthermore, on APS Anywhere, you can also use demand forecasting function, meaning based on your past manufacturing and sales figures, the system can predict what will be your demand in the future. This will help you manage your supply chain in a more productive manner. I have the QR code on the screen. You can scan the QR code and you can learn more about APS Anywhere as well as Anywhere App software system in general. There is more. I have a direct line for you. You can send me a direct email, kevin@kerrconsulting.com. kevin@kerrconsulting.com, and I'll be happy to hear
from you about Anywhere apps, ATS Anywhere, or any Anywhere apps that is offered by Anywhere apps by Cure Consulting, now Cherry Baker. Thank you for your support. Support for the American Business Podcast comes from Otter AI. Otter is the AI note taker that builds your knowledge and powers your workflow with transcription, automated summaries, AI chat, and more. Get your AI-powered assistant for meeting notes, tasks, and more. Scan the QR code on the screen and sign up today. Otter AI is the latest note taker that you can utilize, and you can set your meetings, you can take your notes, and you can also set up your follow-up actions automatically with the help of the Otter AI. Scan the QR code and sign up today. Thank you for your support. Support for the American Business Podcast comes from DocuSign. If you are signing vendor contracts and customer contracts very often, just like I do on daily basis, consider DocuSign. DocuSign is the latest modern digital and electronic signature software system. Furthermore, you can manage your vendor contracts, customer contracts, NDAs, and any other commercial contracts on DocuSign digitally with no need of local installation and no need of keeping your documents on your laptop or your mobile device. Furthermore, with the latest technology of DocuSign, it has intelligent agreement management. It recognizes your repeated documents and creates contracts automatically and makes things easier for you. Do you know how many users are there for the DocuSign system? More than 1 billion users. There are many companies using DocuSign and trust DocuSign for electronic and digital signature. True story. I also use DocuSign on daily basis and it works smoothly. Highly recommended. You see the QR code on the screen. When you scan the QR code, you fill up the form to start your free trial and join the DocuSign user community. Enjoy your DocuSign experience, and I hope you sign up today. I have the QR code on the screen. Thank you very much, and enjoy the experience. Support for the American Business Podcast comes from Gemini Trust. Gemini makes crypto simple. Find, trade, and buy over 70 different coins, including Bitcoin and Solana, on the best cryptocurrency platform. Gemini Trust. Start trading crypto here. I have the QR code on the screen. You can scan the QR code and start signing up today. Because they have a great customer service, you can reach out to them and get assistance 24/7. Scan the QR code and start trading crypto on Gemini. Thank you for your support. Support for the American Business Podcast comes from Wizen. At the American Business Podcast, we always talk about continuous improvement and professional development. That is why we partner with Wizen, trust the nation's largest network for tutoring. Wizen helps you find the tutor that you need in many different subjects: chemistry, computer, foreign languages, geometry, English, music, physics, reading, SAT, science, and many more. I have the QR code on the screen that you can sign up and start searching for tutors and enjoy the learning experience and continuous improvement as we always talk about in the American Business Podcast. Scan the QR code and sign up for Wizen today. Thank you very much. Support for the American Business Podcast comes from Rosetta Stone. Rosetta Stone is bringing you foreign languages. Learn from the experts, choose your plan to get started, sign up today. New Year is coming, and if your New Year resolution is learning a foreign language, Rosetta Stone is the choice for you. Rosetta Stone is offering you a long list of foreign languages: French, Italian, German, Chinese, Greek, Turkish, Polish, for you to get started today. Scan the QR code on the screen and sign up for Rosetta Stone and enjoy the learning experience of foreign language. Thank you very much. Support for the American Business Podcast comes from Anywhere Apps by Kirk Consulting, now Cherry Beckert. Anywhere Apps are business software systems, and they are designed to digitize and automate your business processes. Today, I like to focus on contract management anywhere as part of Anywhere Apps software product portfolio. Contract Management Anywhere is an AI-powered vendor, customer, and legal contract management software system. It is modern, it runs on cloud, it's easy to use, and it's scalable. Because of the AI capabilities of the system, software comes with an AI chatbot that you can get your answers about any contracts that you have. Renewal dates, amounts, start dates, and other details can be learned from the system in a conversation. I have the QR code on the screen. You can scan the QR code to learn more about Contract Management Anywhere, as well as Anywhere Apps in general. There is more. I have a direct email for you. You can send me a direct email about Anywhere Apps and Contract Management Anywhere, kevin@kirkconsulting.com. I'll be happy to help you and help you schedule a demo session with Team Anywhere Apps. Looking forward to hearing from you, and I hope you enjoy Anywhere Apps. Thank you for your support. Support for the American Business Podcast comes from Norton, advanced tech for advanced threats. Sign up today. Norton offers you different packages to completely save and secure your data and your devices. Each Norton package comes with antivirus, malware, ransomware, and hacking protection capabilities. In addition, there is VPN, private internet connection, dark web monitoring, and parental control capabilities in each package. There is a promotion going on right now. I have the QR code on the screen. You can get up to 60% discount if you sign up right now for one of the packages. There are packages of Deluxe, Standard, Plus, and Select. Depends on the number of devices that you like to connect, as well as the features that you like to utilize when you are using Norton. I have the QR code on the screen. When you scan the QR code, you'll see the different packages and options available for you. Scan the QR code, go to the page that you like to sign up, pick the package that you like to use, and sign up today. True story. I am also using Norton on a daily basis, and I know all of my devices are secure every single day, thanks to Norton. Scan the QR code on the screen and start using Norton today and save your devices and your data in a safe and secure manner with the help of Norton. Thank you very much and enjoy the experience.
Thank you for being with me in the American Business Podcast. If you'd like to be a guest in the American Business Podcast, please send us an email, guestbooking@americanpodcast.tv. If you'd like to sponsor ABP, if you'd like to advertise in our podcast episodes, please send us an email, growyourbusiness@americanpodcast.tv. You can advertise your company, your products, your services, and your brands in the American Business Podcast. Please send us an email, growyourbusiness@americanpodcast.tv. You can also visit our website, americanpodcast.tv, to learn more about the American Business Podcast, as well as our coming streaming schedule. Now you can have your branded company podcast within the American Business Podcast network. We call it Business Podcasting as a Service, PaaS. If you're interested in starting your business podcast in the American Business Podcast network, please send us an email, paas@americanpodcast.tv. As part of our international expansion, we started international podcast editions. When you scan this QR code, it'll take you to our YouTube page. And please go to the podcast section in our YouTube page, and you'll see our international podcast editions. They are ABP Espanol, ABP German, ABP French, ABP Hindi, ABP Portuguese, and ABP Turk, that you can listen to American Business Podcast in 6 different foreign languages. Okay, well, we are in the process of increasing our presence in social media. If you're on LinkedIn, please scan this QR code and subscribe, follow us on LinkedIn. If you're on TikTok, please scan this QR code. It'll take you to our TikTok page. Please subscribe. Please follow us. If you are on Instagram, please scan this QR code. It'll take you to our Instagram page and please subscribe. If you are on Facebook, we'll also appreciate your help and support. Please scan this QR code. It'll take you to our Facebook page and please follow us. And finally, we are on IMDb next to other reputable media productions. Please scan this QR code, go to our IMDb page, and please rate us on IMDb. We'll truly appreciate your help and support. I'd like to thank you for your help. Thank you for your support. I'm looking forward to seeing you in coming The American Business Podcast episodes. The American Business Podcast is the voice of American business. The American Business Podcast, America's fastest growing educational business podcast network in this age of AI. Thank you very much for your help and looking forward to seeing you. Thank you.